All right, I want to get back to this Supreme Court ruling from yesterday, birthright citizenship, a 5-4 vote, allowing this to continue as birthright has become one of the most abused constitutional amendments over the last few decades. We now have maternity hotels in the United States used largely by pregnant women from China. There's entire houses filled with these women. They fly in from all over the world routinely to overstay a visa and birth anchor babies in our country, and somehow the Supreme Court sees no issue with this whatsoever. 9% of American babies born are born from non-citizen mothers. 9% of our babies are anchor babies. That's 350,000 every single year. Justice Alito in the dissent calling out the national security concerns of allowing this to continue, but speaking also to the pressure that some of the Supreme Court is likely feeling regarding the 14th Amendment, saying the original meaning of it does not require inhumane results. We should not adopt an erroneous interpretation of the 14th Amendment simply out of fear of the consequences of rocking the boat or as a reaction to current immigration policy. And Senator Eric Schmitt wanted to talk about this tonight. We said, let's do it. So, sir, this ruling, I think, was really bad. I think it's very regretful for the court. And again, it seems so obvious, as the president has said so many times, this was a 14th Amendment, came right after the 13th that freed the slaves. This was clearly written for the children of slaves. They had no idea that 160 years later, that birth tourism would be a problem in this country.
Yeah, and Justice Alito points out the national security risk. I mean, you literally have right now an industry propped up, this birth tourism, where CCP generals in China are sending their wives or girlfriends to come to the United States to give birth, stay for a couple weeks, then go back to communist China, presumably, for 18 years to be indoctrinated. And they have at this point now, can come back here on their 18th birthday, contribute, vote, maybe even run for office. I mean, it's a total disaster, Rob, and it's a vast departure from how any serious country views citizenship. And I think it's a sacred bond that unites us together. And when it's cheapened like this, yes, it really is a tragic decision.
It's cheapened, and it's cheapened for a reason, because there's so many different forces that are trying to untether this country in any way they can, to marginalize what it means to be an American, to marginalize our culture, our founding, all the things that are so dear to us. And as we've talked about, there's no other first world Western nation that does this. Go through all of Europe, which is, by the way, far more liberal than the United States. No European nation allows you to just pop into their country, pop out a kid, and then that child is a citizen of the country, and then you can use what we have here, which is chain migration, to start bringing the entire family over. It's utterly outrageous. And I really do think that there is some political element to this. I do think that the court is terrified that they're viewed as over-conservative. I think they're terrified of it being packed. And I think these justices, on occasion, with a big ruling, say, let's throw one the other way to appease the left so that their court doesn't get watered down and packed.
Well, I mean, look, outside of just the practical impact that you've laid out, I mean, just the words alone here, when the 14th Amendment was drafted, along with the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which, as you rightly pointed out, was really meant for the children of slaves. So we fought a civil war. Then, of course, the slaves were freed, and they wanted to make sure that the slaves' kids who were subject to the jurisdiction thereof the United States would be made free, that they were full citizens of the United States of America. They never intended this. In fact, a lot of in the 1866 Act, they talked about not subject to a foreign power, right? So all this was read together. Nobody, including Senator Howard, the drafter of it, never believed this would happen. And so it really is a departure, I think, from the plain meaning of, at the time, how that was understood. But maybe there was political pressure here. I don't really know, but it was a terrible decision. It's going to have disastrous consequences for generations to come, unless there's a temporary action, Rob, the president can take by way of executive order. There's a statutory fix that Kavanaugh opened the door for we should walk through, or, of course, a constitutional amendment to seal it.
Constitutional amendment to seal it, which, good luck. Let's show MS Now the reaction to this. Quite interesting from the liberal media. Take a listen.
So you would have hospital systems immediately be paralyzed at the very delivery room and be unable to provide basic medical care because you would be verifying people's citizenship. You would have an increase in ICE enforcement in communities initially because ICE would have to create policies to apprehend and detain more infants. And so you'd see more family separation, and you're taking away demand in our economy. It is an affordability fight. I hope more leaders realize immigration is an economic cost of living issue.
It's just, it's funny to listen to them lay that out. It's also just wild to listen to the potential complications, because we live in a country that just has tens of millions of illegal aliens, as if that's a normal thing.
I don't know who that person was, but she has no idea what she's talking about. The inflationary cost there is an affordability cost with all the immigration that we've seen, 15 to 20 million people that have flooded into this country with higher rents and higher home prices. And she mentioned the ER, people flooding the ER, and taxpayers have to pay for the health care of illegal immigrants. This is why President Trump, from the very beginning of coming down the escalator, has made this issue front and center in his campaign, has won 2 presidential elections over it. These people are nuts.
Yeah. Everybody, you want to know why a starter house costs $400,000 in this country now? It used to be $150,000, because all of the bottom of our real estate market is full of illegal aliens. And as soon as we get them out, you want to take pressure off of that. That upward pressure is tremendous. People, as you said, you want to talk about inflation and all these issues. Get the 20 million illegals out of the country. Watch how fast that eases. Senator Schmitt, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Take care, Rob.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.